Welcome to Started Frame 1, episode 28. And we are live. Hello, everybody out there. How was your evening? Thanks for joining today. This is the last day of this week. We are going to be streaming in the evening. Next week, the stream is gonna be again as regular at 2 p.m. Central European time. Yeah, I had to shift this week and couldn't be streaming during the day. So how's everybody doing out there? It's Friday evening. Not too much going on, I suppose, during these times. All right. So let me. Oh, hell, I have to get some changes done here. Let me see. I'm gonna give you this here, but we have to add a different monitor because today we won't work in Krita. Today we are going to work in Adobe Illustrator. And I'm don't think that we're gonna animate today, because today I wanted to do a little bit of a style frame thing for our animation that we had so far. So let's see. Here we have our animatic that we animated so far. Let's play that. So that's what we have so far. And I have a slight idea on how the animation will end, but I'm working on that. So I thought it would be cool to design the backgrounds, because we don't have the whole image animated. There are a lot of static elements in the background. Most of them, basically. Let's guide you through my idea on how this is gonna work. Well, you basically see it here already in the style frame, in the animatic. The only thing that's moving here is the board itself, but only from that point on where the rails end. So my idea now is to build everything in that image, but leave out this part of the board, because then we're gonna put that on top of it, but as an animated layer. So this would be all static. The water later on will be animated. So what I want to do in the style frame is, well, I define at least the color of the different elements here in the water, with the reflections and the shadows. But I only gonna build like the pool, like the, how do I call it, like the basin with the tiles here. They're gonna be tiles, but the animation of the water, which is basically the animation of the reflection, will be done later on separately on a separate layer that's gonna be lying on top of this static style frame. So we gonna layer more or less the static background. Then on top of that we put the animated board, and on top of that we have this water animation. That is the idea. And because we have a super geometric thing going on, I thought it would be maybe better. I tried to do a style frame yesterday in Procreate on the iPad, but it didn't. I don't know. It was not what I want to do go for, and so I thought I'm gonna give it a try as well in Illustrator, where I definitely gonna, let's look at this style frame here. So you see we have all the geometry, but it's hand drawn, which has its own like thing going, and I don't dislike that. I think that works fine to have these irregularities here and there, which is actually pretty cool. So if I really went with Illustrator, I suppose we would have quite like perfect lines. And I wanted to give it a try, like to play around with different styles, because I don't really know yet what's gonna be the final style. Here we have an idea. I like the colors already. I like the thin outlining, yeah, with a darker color than the base color of the object. Like here we have a dark green, and this started to be completely black, but then I adapted it as well to the skin color, and I somehow this color still makes some noise. I don't know. I still not sure yet. And so I just started to pick the colors because I want to prepare that and have that. And then I wanted to work out really like our one point perspective, because also in this animatic I'm feeling there's something off with the perspective. So the cool thing is now that I want to do like the perfect lines in Illustrator, perfect geometric shapes and all that, because I don't do it by hand. It's gonna be, even if I don't go with the style, it's gonna be a really cool guide to draw on top of that by hand, because the tiles and everything, it's basically full of lines that are actually the design. So I can afterwards use that style frame to draw another slightly different version of for as a style where I draw on top of that, but by hand, if if you can follow me. So this way I can try both styles and see how it looks, what I like best, and then decide which style to apply on that animatic that we did before. Here with the animatic, we just went with the timing and the story and the movements, different movements that we're gonna have. But we did it like very roughly to get a first idea with the timing. Then when we had the timing, we went with a slightly more detailed version of the movements, which means we added new frames and made it more fluent. And then we worked out already quite some details from our final character here. And that is the animatic. Because it wouldn't make sense to already render that part completely, because you're still figuring out other stuff that has more importance in the, not more importance, but it makes so much more sense to define it first and then in the end apply like there in each frame there goes a lot of work, and you want to reduce that amount of work as much as possible because it's already time consuming. So this frame gets a lot of dedication to define the style, but you won't apply this style already on each image from the beginning on, because it would take so much time to apply this style on a single image that is not really defined yet, because you didn't figure out the movement, you didn't maybe figure out the exact the poses and the perspective. So that has to be defined first before you actually apply this final style. And that is my my workflow when I work on client projects or as well on my own stuff, because you need like this recipe to keep track and to not get lost in the process, because you suddenly feel like, I could go this way because now I suddenly did some kind of a mistake there with the colors and that looks cool as well. No, be careful with that, because you can run very easily in like wild, and you cannot track uh, anymore how long it's gonna take you and the work amount, because you just if you decide on the way to run another path, like you're gonna have to do way more stuff. So definitely keep that in mind to have a clear process here. And yeah, that worked for me so far, and it helps to define budgets and time, how much time you need just when you first get into contact with your client, and those things have to be established first in order to actually get the project. And you also have to keep your promise, and you can only keep that promise when you follow a certain structure. At least that is my point of view. And then as well, when if clients or you yourself decide during the process to go another like process, you cannot guarantee anymore, or I cannot guarantee anymore that we can accomplish that project in the time frame on the budget that we established in the beginning based on my calculations of my process. If we suddenly cannot not follow anymore my process because that happens, then you have to make clear that from that point on, it may happen that you don't hit what was established at the beginning. So that is my workflow when I work with clients and on personal projects, and it has served me well during the years. So let me know if you what your milestones are, how you manage your projects with clients or personal projects as well, because it can, especially personal projects, I need to establish those milestones, because there you don't even have a deadline, or yeah, like you are the client and you want to make it perfect. That's also a problem. Like you can always find something that makes it more perfect, but if you put those, let's say, limitations on your personal project as well, you can at least calculate how long you're going to want to work on that project. Because yeah, that's sometimes happening to me when I just go loose and do stuff, and then it gets bigger and bigger, but then suddenly you have another idea, so you start different stuff, experimentations. And that's why well, during the years now, I learned to keep it as short as possible, as compact as possible, to make sure that you don't run too far into a project without losing like motivation and the, in collaboration. And that's a cool thing that I like about collaborations, because there you have different production steps, and new people come in at a certain production step and bring a whole new light, a whole new vibe to the whole project, because they maybe see it with a complete clear eye. And so there comes in a new spirit, and it elevates the project like during the process. And I like that as well on collaborations. So wow, that was a rant. So, let's continue here. I don't know if you're familiar with Illustrator. I used to work a lot in Illustrator for, well, I still do, for motion design. It's basically for me the go-to tool, because it's very cool tool that allows you to work quite like fluently as well with After Effects. So now we have here our colors references, and here we have our let's call this just the animatic. And let's see. New layer. So lock those. No, I'm probably not gonna lock this. Let's see if we can at least multiply. All right, so I really already start directly with the colors to get a first sense of the whole thing. And well, that's a cool thing now with After Effects, that you can do so many automations. Like, let's say, okay, we want to have all the tiles that go this way are like 45 degrees. So now we go very mathematical, okay? Because maybe that creates a cool style, because everything is super clean. I don't know. Let's see how that goes. And let's make it the white. All right. Okay, this is quite thin. Oh, and I did I work here on a 3000 by 3000 pixel image. So this is will be quite a big animation. I just wanted to be sure I have a like a very good resolution. And now I want to make sure at least that the stroke width and everything works within this resolution and this size. So we could 3 look good. That looks quite thin. And that's also pretty cool because we can afterwards tweak around the width of the lines super effortless, and if we would do this in a drawing in Krita, it would be way more time consuming. So now I want to just now I have like here, I have here a line and I have here a line, and I just want to fill in everything in between, and I go to blend and blend options, and I suppose we just say like, I don't know how many, let's put in 10 like we want, or 8 now that we add 8 more lines, so it's gonna be 10 altogether. I somehow need these numbers, like this round numbers in programs this kind where you work with your mouse and everything numerically. Like I need round numbers. I cannot work with a 2.02 pixel width or something like that. Okay, so I think we need more. So we go in and then go to the blend options again. Let's put in like 4 more. And even more. Let's go a little bit higher. Well, we can try, right? Why not? Like we can, that's as well, like we can change that afterwards super easily and reduce it. So I duplicate that with copying and paste in place, and then I rotate that 90 degrees here. Yeah. Okay, yeah, 45 degrees is not cool. It's just too flat. I didn't consider that. Let's see if we can. Oh, damn, I should have counted. So I just get this end, that end, and then I just move them down. So I move them down 50 pixels, and I want to do the same thing as well on this side. So I suppose stat A. think I want it even more. Let's see if we. Oh, I'm afraid this fucks up our whole perspective that we had here. So I suppose we have to go with that. Well, more music. Oh, now you see as well what I'm okay. Hmm. So this is more or less, I suppose, our perspective. But no, I don't want that to be our perspective. Okay, so if that was our floor, so we want to get our water. So this is our basin. I have no idea. I think it's basin, but sorry if I'm wrong. Pool, where the water is in. Let's just put any color in there right now, just to just to mark where it is. And let's really just use the tiles as our grid and line it perfectly on that tiles. Later on we could see if it would be like more interesting to have it outside the tiles, which would this is it. But for now, how have we? So okay, and here we're gonna have okay. Okay. Okay, I got it. To define this line, we first have to establish our where our perspective point is. So let's see. And I'm gonna do this on another level. I put the perspective guides. And let's see. Oh. So those I want to have a little bit thicker and some not very harsh color, so it's clearly visible. Mm. Okay, so this here is our perspective point. Holy moly, but then our basin would be like so. Doesn't seem right. So let's just trust the lines, I suppose. Or you know what? Oh wow, okay, now I see the perspective going on. We just have to change those tiles in it. So it'll be around that. Can I see the perspective? I can see it now. Okay, interesting. So here it comes again, very handy. We're gonna like block those because I don't want to continue this path here. I want to get a new path. And this one is colored exactly like this. And I duplicate it and I bring it down here. And I do the same as I did with those tiles here. I'm gonna blend them together, for instance, and we're gonna lock that so we can do the same thing here. So this is perfect. Actually, if we even decided to do the whole thing with more hand-drawn, well, this is our guide on which we're gonna draw. Get this here. Don't get the okay. Cool Teeth here. Hello. How are you? I don't know when you wrote this chat because I just figured out how to see all the chat going on. All the chat going on. You come your chat. So anyways, hello to all of you out there. Okay, this one is not really. Okay. So this one and that one we're gonna blend. Ooh, that looks kind of funky. Let's see, let's trim out. Okay. Well, yeah, I still see the perspective. So let's get this as well. The right color. Sounds pretty low. Alright, thanks for. Let's see. Am I too far away? Let's see. Properties. Let's see if we can get some cool filters. Advanced. I'm not getting the gain here. So is it now better? Should I pump up the volume? Or is that now better? Okay, so let's continue here. We also need horizontal lines. Not horizontal like vertical, but they're actually not even vertical because how do I decide on the perspective? I I kind of like this perspective, and so I decided to draw my lines that apparently will go like the vertical lines that align to the tower from both sides. See here, this one, that one, and wherever they hit each other, every line in this drawing should direct to. And that's, well, not every line, like it depends. But if you want to know how I came up with the perspective, no, I kind of had the idea to shoot it from up there to get the idea of the height and the perspective. The perspective, like, yeah, getting an idea, about the room or the place where everything happened. Because when you look at the style frame, that was not really having any perspective. This one here, and well, it's okay. It would work, but I kind of felt this is not telling too much, and that kind of felt more there's more story, or it has more information. It gets a better sense of the whole scene. But to be honest, I'm still trying to figure out the perspective. It's not really. That's why we are today in another software and not drawing by hand, just to get some calculations in there, and well, probably maybe design as well. It's inevitable. So here, I suppose that didn't make sense. So, okay. So we need the same distance to line them up. And let's try to move that one. Pity that it doesn't update automatically. Right. It's the first one. And didn't get anything, did I? Okay. So I move this one over here. Probably want to line it up with some of those lines. Because they're just a result of the blending effect, you cannot snap to them. As long as you don't extract them from the effect, if you are familiar with Illustrator. So I'm gonna keep it for now like this. So let's make a blending. It appears that we need more. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we need 11. Get into the options and get us 11. All right, now they line up perfectly. Sweet. Let's trim the view to see actually just what's happening inside. And like, I don't like that. I think we need to tweak our perspective then. So that's cool because now I can just play around with the perspective. Let's see if that works out. It's getting, bit by bit, it's getting a little bit confusing with all the layers. Ah, sweet, that works fine. But here's something funky going on. Ah, of course. I would have to. Okay. See if that makes it. All right, that's it. I think I like the tiles from that angle. I'm just looking at that one. And let's adjust our perspective to our likings. Still haven't. Because the more we tweak the perspective in this direction, the lower gets the tower. The tower that's going to be here. Because now the difference between this diameter and this one, it's not that exaggerated like we have it here. I don't know. Let's see. And I could actually work in perspective inside of Illustrator. I just don't like the tool. So and maybe we can leave a little bit of room for, let's say, human error to give it a certain lack of perfection. Okay, I could continue now with the tiles down there, but I think I don't want to have tiles down there because then it's getting too much. What I feel though is, I suppose due to the contrast, the 3-point line is a little bit too much. If we keep it that minimal, we probably wanna reduce that. Okay, that looks cool. At least the perspective on the pool is everything I think that I want to see. And now let's see how the tower is gonna look like. Maybe let's group this. Lock it. I'll lock it. So I'm wondering how I would. Okay, let's see. We're gonna get some weird funky color to work. I think we need something. So you see how that board went off perspective? Because I started to draw some kind of a fisheye effect. But I think that would make it way more complex, the whole perspective thing. So let's try to keep it simple for now. And that's color is actually super not visible. Let's line it up here with the tiles. Just what was that? What is now going on? Okay. some better color here. Or just gonna create from those two lines. I'm gonna join those two lines. And let's give it a fill color. Are they perfectly aligned? Look, they actually are. And that's the thing, like for me, this looks like distorted. It doesn't look right. And I think it is because we feel like this one is closer to us and this one should be further down. So there should already be like kind of a shortening going on. Yeah, it looks, to me at least, it looks weird. It's because it's not aligned with us, with our perspective. Alright. You see, there's plenty of space for human error. Okay, that still looks weird. Yeah, it's kind of isometric without being isometric. And I suppose isometric is the only way that looks good. Oh, let's continue. And because I think if I don't even feel like, but it's because everything is so rough that all now that I know it, it feels off the perspective with this that. Man, I never put so much thought in perspective like in this thing here. So it's now totally gonna be pain is we have to draw in those lines now for each detail that we have. No, I think I want to go a little bit looser with all that stuff because it starts to feel too robotic. I don't know. Takes the fun out of it. I always try to really. I would consider myself like I know my way around in Illustrator, at least the stuff that I used to do. And I think my biggest motivation was to know the software that good that I can work effortlessly, oh, well, effortlessly, I don't know, like fluently within the program without being um, being slowed down all the time with not knowing how to get it and really perfectionize working with shortcuts. Okay, that color is just horrible. I think I want to align this. All high. Now, I now build every element bit by bit with those guidelines here. Okay. So I'm going in here like very, very in detail. So this will be our rail. Close enough. I don't know why it's not snapping. But cut it here. Delete that. And delete that one. So now let's see. How far is the stairs? Start somewhere here. Yeah, why not? Leave it like this. And now yeah. Yeah, I more and more believe that this is basically just gonna be the guide later on when we draw it by hand, because I don't know. But maybe when, let's see. it doesn't look good. Like this is supposedly this part here of the rail, which is okay in like if you consider the gap that is left open where you enter the board, but here this looks like if this is where you come up on the stairs, who would bother to put that little rail in there? And as well, like thinking like this distance is supposedly the height here, which maybe goes to his shoulders. And if you consider that is from your shoulders, like well, how much from the floor to your elbow, sorry. Like let's say this is like 120 or something like this. So this would be over 2 meters, which doesn't make sense. So I think the evil of the perspective is still alive. We didn't defeat it. It's a pity because this already looks pretty cool. And I feel I think I'm gonna take those days to actually really try to wrap my head around this and make it right. I want to make it right. At least I want to be able to make it right and then decide if I break it. But only breaking it because not knowing how it works, it's not cool. So yeah, I think I'll leave it at this point. Thanks a lot if you watched the video. Consider subscribing, liking, or commenting the video. Always welcome. Get in touch if you have any questions or any advice, any suggestions whatsoever. Like I'm open for any dialogue. And yeah, let's see how we can get this perspective right. I'm very, very excited because to have another look at our animatic. It's gonna be a cool little clip. Wow, cool little animation. There's no story so far. And we can decide if this is already like done. I have an idea where to stop it at that moment, but I could, for example, imagine like adding a few takes before what we've seen here, like detail shots, how he grabs the rail, how he steps with his feet on a step, how he positions himself. Like there's a lot of cool stuff that could be done. Just details, like I don't know. I like the even without an idea, just to exercise and think, oh, it would be cool to have this shot and that shot because that's a cool thing. Well, when you know your perspectives, but that's a cool thing. Like when you draw it by hand, you can basically draw whatever weird perspective you want to see if you're able to get it there. So yeah, pretty nice that this problem actually came up, and apparently perspective is the new thing I'm gonna improve. So awesome. Thanks a lot for watching and see you on Monday. Bye.